A Germanic warrior stands guard on the wooden palisade, scanning the tree line at dawn. The Roman camp sits 300 meters away, seemingly quiet. He adjusts his shield, completely unaware that death is already flying toward him. No warning, no whistle of an arrow, just a sudden, violent impact as an iron bolt tears through his shield, his chest, and pins what's left of him to the wall behind. His companions don't even have time to shout before two more bolts strike with the same terrifying silence. This was the Roman ballista weapon, so precise, so mathematically perfect that enemies thought it was supernatural. But here, truly shocking. Most people today have never even heard of the machine that dominated battlefields for over 500 years. Welcome to Great History Ein, where we uncover the weapons and tactics that shaped our world. If you're fascinated by ancient warfare, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of 40,000 history lovers. Today, we're diving deep into Rome's most terrifying precision weapon. So what made this machine so feared? Why did hardened warriors break formation at the mere sight of it? And how did something so revolutionary simply vanish from history? Let's find out. Where did this monster come from? You might think the Romans invented the ballista, but don't be fooled. The real story begins centuries earlier in the workshops of ancient Greece, where war was about to meet mathematics. It started with something almost laughably a belly bow. The Greeks called it the gastrophytes, and it looked exactly as ridiculous as it sounds. Imagine a crossbow so large you had to brace it against your stomach just to cock it. Crude. Absolutely. Revolutionary. You bet. Because for the first time, someone had figured out how to store mechanical energy beyond human muscle power. But the real breakthrough, that happened in Syracuse, where a tyrant named Dionysius did something nobody had tried before. He didn't just hire soldiers, he hired engineers, full-time. And these mad geniuses discovered something incredible. You could store massive energy in twisted bundles of sinew or hair. Suddenly, machines could hurl projectiles with forces that seemed impossible. When Alexander the Great brought these early devices to the siege of Tyre in 332 BC, something extraordinary happened. He didn't just use them against walls, he turned them into battlefield weapons. The historian Arrian tells us these machines could pick off enemy commanders with such precision that defenders were more afraid of the artillery than Alexander's famous phalanx. Death came swiftly and without warning. He wrote, "Yet for all their brilliance, the Greeks treated these weapons like expensive toys, impressive at sieges, but not essential to warfare. They had built the weapon, but they hadn't unleashed the beast." That transformation would require a different kind of mind, a Roman mind. Why Rome turned innovation into domination? When Roman legions first encountered Greek artillery at Syracuse in 214 BC, they met something that shouldn't have existed. Archimedes himself, yes. That Archimedes had designed defensive machines that were demolishing Roman forces. According to Plutarch, these devices launched stones and bolts with astonishing accuracy. Soldiers were being struck down at distances they couldn't even shoot back from. But here's where Rome was different. Where others saw clever siege equipment, Rome saw the future of warfare itself. They didn't just want a few machines for special occasions. They wanted artillery with every legion, on every campaign, ready to deploy in minutes. Think about what that means. While enemies were still figuring out how these machines worked, Rome was already mass-producing standardized parts. While others treated artillery like specialty units, Rome made them as essential as swords and shields. Julius Caesar himself wrote, "There was scarcely a place left for assault that was not protected by a battery of machines." But why did Rome take it so seriously? Because the ballista was more than a weapon, it was Roman philosophy made manifest. Discipline, precision, psychological dominance. It turned chaos into calculation, passion into mathematics, and that's exactly how Rome liked to fight. The killing mathematics, how did it actually work? Forget everything you think you know about ancient weapons. What you're looking at when you see a ballista isn't just a big crossbow. It's a precisely calibrated engine of physics that would be fully understood again for another 1,000 years. The secret lay in those two vertical cylinders on either side, the torsion springs. But calling them springs doesn't do justice to what they really were. Imagine taking bundles of animal sinew, sometimes even human hair, and twisting them so tight they held explosive rotational energy. These weren't bow limbs that bent, they were coiled fury waiting to unleash. The Roman architect Vitruvius documented something remarkable. Every single component followed mathematical ratios. Nothing was guesswork. For a 90-centimeter bolt, the spring housing would be exactly 1/9 that length. The throwing arms, 7/9. Every measurement flowed from precise calculations. It was engineering poetry written in wood and bronze. But here's what made it truly terrifying. The crews who operated these machines, the ballistarii, weren't just soldiers. They were engineers who could feel the humidity in the air and adjust the sinew tension accordingly. To dampen, the cords loosened, reducing power. To dry, and they might snap under stress. These men would run their fingers along the twisted bundles like musicians tuning an instrument before a lethal performance. Modern reconstructions have proven just how devastating these calculations were. Full-scale replicas fire 10-kilogram bolts at speeds over 100 kilometers per hour. At 200 meters, twice the range of any archer, these projectiles punched through multiple shields, through armor, through boaties. The kinetic energy was equivalent to a modern high-powered rifle, but with a projectile the size of a spear. Battlefield terror, the psychology of precision death. Now imagine you're a Germanic warrior watching Romans set up their camp. You've heard stories, but surely they're exaggerated. Then you see their mechanical monsters being assembled with practiced efficiency. Your chieftain laughs, says they're too far away to matter. That's when the first bolt strikes. Your best warrior, standing right beside you, is suddenly gone, not just dead, but literally torn apart, his body flung backward like a child's doll. No battle cry warned you, no archer you could see, just mechanical death arriving faster than sound. Josephus, chronicling Jerusalem's siege in 70 AD, wrote something chilling. The defenders feared the Roman engines more than the Roman soldiers. Why? Because you could fight soldiers, you could see them coming. But ballista bolts, they turned experienced warriors into paranoid wrecks, flinching at shadows. The Romans understood this perfectly. They even carved messages on their projectiles. Return to sender, or simply, for you, in Latin. Imagine finding that message on the bolt that just killed your shield brother. It wasn't just death. It was personalized death, delivered with mathematical certainty. At Alesia, Caesar positioned ballistae on elevated platforms, creating overlapping fields of fire. Gallic warriors charging uphill found themselves in killing zones where death came from multiple angles simultaneously. Leaders were picked off mid-speech. Standard bearers dropped before reaching effective range. The psychological impact was devastating. Warriors saw their heroes fall to an enemy they couldn't even engage. The system behind the slaughter. But here's what truly separated Rome from everyone else. The ballista wasn't just a weapon. It was part of an integrated system that was centuries ahead of its time. Every Roman legion included specialized artillery units under the praefectus fabrum. These weren't ordinary soldiers, they were educated specialists who understood geometry, physics, and engineering. They could disassemble a ballista, march it through alpine passes, and rebuild it in hours. The standardization was revolutionary. A bronze fitting manufactured in Rome could replace a broken part on Hadrian's Wall. Instruction manuals ensured crews from Syria to Spain operated identically. This was mass production before the Industrial Revolution, interchangeable parts before the assembly line. Even more impressive, every Roman marching camp, even one-night stops, included pre-planned artillery positions. Within hours of arriving, ballistae commanded approaches and dominated sightlines. Enemies learned that attacking a Roman camp, even a temporary one, meant facing instant, precise death from multiple angles. The vanishing act. So why did something so effective disappear? When Rome's Western Empire crumbled, it took more than territory. It took the entire support system. Engineering schools, specialized workshops, standardized logistics, trained crews, all gone within a generation. The Byzantine Empire preserved simplified versions, but the true ballista, perfect fusion of mathematics, engineering, and tactical doctrine died with Rome. Medieval warfare regressed to cruder machines until Renaissance engineers rediscovered Vitruvius and realized what had been lost. Why this still matters. The ballista wasn't just a weapon, it was proof that technology plus organization equals domination. Rome didn't have better warriors than their enemies. They had better systems. They turned warfare into engineering, chaos into calculation, and fear into a precision tool. Every modern artillery piece, every sniper rifle, every precision-guided munition follows principles the ballista pioneered: mathematical accuracy, psychological impact, and systematic deployment. Rome showed the world that wars aren't won by the brave, they re-won by those who turn bravery into mathematics. Thanks for joining us on this journey into ancient precision warfare. What Roman innovation should we explore next? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to Great History Iron for daily dives into the weapons and tactics that shaped civilization. Until tomorrow, keep questioning, keep discovering, and remember, history's greatest secrets are hiding in plain sight.